Hi everyone, we're gonna start. So just a few words. I won't take too much of your time. I'm Benjamin Cabois. I'm the Council for Culture at the French Consulate. Just wanted to say a few words to welcome you here tonight. It's a real pleasure to welcome you at the French Club, our partner in this event, for this conference on women in NFTs, which we organize in the framework of our event called Digital November. So maybe you ask yourself a question: why did we choose this topic, and also why did we decide to take those two questions and put it together, women and NFT and women in NFT? So first of all, NFT. NFT, as you all know, have revolutionized the art and cultural sector in the past months, almost a year now. And France is known for its craftsmanship in many sectors, and crypto art is no exception. So we really wanted to bring a French perspective to the burning question and debate around NFT. Second reason is that the promotion of gender equality is a top priority of the French diplomacy, which is very proud to call itself feminist. And this was a commitment from our president and our foreign affairs ministry to have a feminist diplomacy. What it means is that for us, promoting same opportunity, same wages, same treatment, regardless of gender, is a cornerstone of our action abroad, around the world, but of course for us here in Hong Kong. So that's why we try here to contribute to inspire young girls and women by bringing into light the achievement of women in every field, to inspire them to take up initiative. So this commitment for us is even more important in the innovative and creative sectors, as those sectors will be the key to build our common future. So I'll just give you one number. Art created by women sell for about 50% less than the works created by men. So that's art in general. So as NFT, have entered the art scene, I think we have a kind of a common responsibility to take a stance to make sure this bias does not spread to this new field. So we are very proud in this sense to have 6 female artists among the one displayed in our exhibition on French NFT artists. Of course, 4 women here, but that's a given. And so those 4 women, I really would like to warmly thank them, our moderator, Zabrina Lo, and our speaker, Claudia, Caroline, and Mei Ming, for their participation. This talk, I hope, will bring to light some female role model in the field of NFT, and they will share with us their experience in this field. So thank you so much. I'll leave the floor to these inspiring professionals, and thank you all.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone, I am Zabrina from Tatler Hong Kong, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all and to moderate the discussion tonight. And just to kind of give a very brief background, as just now you've also mentioned, because we're talking about female artists and female curators and women who work in the arts scene today. And just to give you some sort of figures, and I was reading online around, and then I saw this Forbes article published just this August, and then it was talking about the highest selling pieces of artworks, and it says that the highest price fetched for a work by a currently living artist is 91 million for Jeff Koons' Rabbit, which is when compared to $12.4 million US for Jenny Saville's Prod. If you think about it, 12.4 million US it might be a large sum, but if you put it in perspective, it's only around 14% of the dollars spent or received for Koons' work. So it seems like there is a bit of a discrepancy here, and with the entrance of NFTs and NFT collectibles, maybe this would give a change to the scene. Because the artists and curators, they may not necessarily need to reveal their identities or genders. And in this sense, would it actually bring a change, or will it give more opportunities for women working in the NFT art scene? And these are kind of the questions I would have for our 3 very talented speakers here today. And maybe I could give you all a very brief introduction. First of all, we have Mei Ming Leung, the lead curator of Bamboo Scenes. She has a master's degree in art galleries and creative business, and she shares her passion and knowledge through international roles at galleries and art fairs, and offers PR consultancy for private art events in Hong Kong and London. She was born and raised in Hong Kong, and her love for the city and art came in full harmony when joining photography art curator Bamboo Scenes. As a manager and event professional, she has helped to grow Bamboo Scenes into an international business with clients in more than 50 countries. Mei's love for exploring new forms of art got her to expand to curating NFT art by realizing the metaverse exhibition, A Woman's World. Second, we have Claudia Chanhoi. She is a Hong Kong illustration artist. Her works challenges the taboo placed on women's sexuality and their role in society through cheeky illustrations. As one of the few female creatives who work across the areas of feminism in Hong Kong, she addresses the taboo subjects in a lighthearted way with humor and sarcasm, and encourages everyone to open up the conversation about taboo subjects. And finally, we have Caroline Tonnelle, an artist who goes by the French Girl. After graduating from the French perfume school and working in the perfume industry for 13 years, she decided to dedicate herself to an artistic career. Her 14-meter-long murals, canvases, and NFTs convey positive messages. She also worked as a curator on 3 group exhibitions about upcycling art. So, to start our conversation, I would kind of like to have an update on your businesses or maybe your NFT art projects that you've been working on. Maybe we can start with Mei. Yeah, a while ago I understand that, as I just mentioned just now, you worked on an exhibition called A Woman's World. Can you tell me a little bit about the concept behind this? I think this was one of the Asia's earliest, all-women virtual NFT exhibitions. Is that correct?
Yes, it was. It was very exciting because it's also my very first NFT exhibition that I curated. And so it was 2 female curators, me and Madelon. And what we decided to do, because it's very close to International Women's Day, so we thought it was simple, it was easy. Let's just do an exhibition with different female NFT artists. And so we had 2 of our own Bamboo Scenes artists, Elaine Lee and Vivian Liu. They created some NFTs, and we were like, this is great, let's put you there, let's exhibit you. Then we also got in contact with Claudia. So Claudia was one of our artists as well. And her artwork, it was different, it was cheeky, it was fun, and it was perfect because, with Bamboo Scenes, we're always working with photographers. So it's actually great to expand and, look into digital artists as well as illustrating artists. So we also worked with Charmaine Kwan. So she's another mixed media NFT artist. And also we worked with an NFT collector. She's also a luxury designer as well, so she creates jewelry, and that's Payal Shah. So it's just great to have, different artworks that we're, always doing photography, and now expanded to digital art. So it just made sense. But also, because our gallery, we don't have a physical gallery. Our gallery is a virtual gallery. So for us, it actually made sense to, try something new and try NFTs. Like, why not? It was exciting. It was, something that we can explore, something new. So that's what we did.
Yeah, and speaking of, championing themes about, feminism or maybe having female artists as the artists and spotlighted in an exhibition. Claudia, your works actually feature a lot of themes about, challenging gender taboos. Can you tell us a little bit about your digital pieces as well and maybe your NFT projects?
So actually, I would say my latest NFT project was with the authorities. So at the time, because to be honest, I don't think I've ever spent so much time on creating NFT art, because most of the projects that I had about NFTs were always rushing. So I would just use my existing animations, and then I would just basically just send it to the platforms and mint it and just put it on the platform, really. Yeah. So the last time when I had my project with the authorities, I had about I would say maybe 5 or 4 or 5 pieces of NFTs, and then they just sort of have a small exhibition. So but not on NFT marketplace.
Can you maybe talk a little bit about, say for example, the subjects that you would talk about, or what kind of taboos would you challenge in your artwork?
I actually work across different subjects. So a question about sexualization, and then because my work tends to get censored a lot because I often feature genitals in my art. So I will include a lot of genitals in my arts and see if people can actually recognize them, and just to sort of like normalize the taboo and let go of shame around hobbies, and also talk about like modern dating relationships, because we live in a world where relationships seem quite disposable, like especially when you go online, you can easily match with people, and you can go on different dates every single week, so that just becomes so just not as authentic, or just seems so replaceable to you. So I do like a lot of different things, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I also like the way that you do your cheeky illustration. It seems that it takes the heaviness of talking about taboo subjects out of the very serious meta. And speaking of channeling positivity, finally we have Claudia, and maybe you can talk to us about your NFT projects and your digital artwork as well.
Yeah, so the first time I showed NFTs was for Digital Art Fair last year. I just quit my job and I decided to dedicate full time to an art practice, and it was exactly at the same time of this huge NFT wave. I had a lot more free time at that time and wanted to dedicate to art, so definitely something to explore. So I got invited as an artist as part of the curation of Move Network, a crypto company. I was actually facing Claudia's work at first Digital Art Fair. Yeah. And then I'm not the digital artist at all. I don't know how to create textures. I don't know how to draw out of a computer or anything. So I questioned myself and ended up creating textures in the physical world, like with real acrylic, real textures, and then digitalized those textures and played out of those textures to create digital art. So first time I was showing digital art was about a year ago. It was really, really exciting. Especially I had a very wow effect as well, because when you work on a digital piece, it's like in my case it's from a MacBook Air laptop, which is screen like this, right? And when you show your art on a way bigger 4K screen, it's like really, really wow, high resolution and all this. So very impressed. I was really, really impressed by the result in terms of also, exploring different aspects of this medium. It's a technology, but it's also exploring different emotions, different colors, different reactions even from the public. So I was really, really interested in this. I had the opportunity as well to show this collection at K11 Museum during a MetaVision. Their 2 months huge event turning all the digital screens into art, into frames for digital art, gathering 200 pieces of NFTs. It was really, really crazy. It felt like a really, really nice show to walk around. And then it's, to me, another medium to spread this symbol around, to spread this good vibes, this good energy message that I want to spread out. So NFT was definitely, to me, a very exciting medium to explore as an artist and talking about the textures and the new emotions I have out of it, but also how to spread the message around.
That's wonderful to hear. And all these projects actually sound really exciting. But the question that I have for the three of you is, I'm sure that you have been working in the art scene for a while before turning your heads to Web3. And say, for example, for you, Claudia, you also worked in the perfume industry for a number of years. What made that courage for you to jump from, working with art or maybe other forms of your products, and then to, something related to Web3 and NFT?
I actually decided to quit any kind of corporate life exactly at the same time as NFT arrived. So in terms of exploring, NFT was just another type of art that I would be super happy to explore at the same time as acrylic or oil painting or different mediums. So I didn't have really this heavy past in traditional or physical art. It just all came together to me as a different medium to explore. to me, NFT is part of art since the beginning of my practice. So it didn't change that much my look on physical art. It's just adding another palette of possibilities.
My apologies. I was meant to call Caroline.
So Caroline, yeah, right?
And Claudia, the real Claudia.
Yeah. Hi,
you
everyone.
you have been an artist, and what about from a female artist perspective? Do you think that there's more visibility and opportunities for women in the art scene?
Well, I would say yes, but I think it's not just for like female artists. I think actually for a lot of like digital artists whose native medium is digital or mixed media, I think it's perfect for them because sometimes I also do animations, and it's pretty hard for me to actually, well, let's say, sell my animations to people because it's not like static image, right? So I think like if your work is like if you create lots of animations, I think NFT is actually really good for you to put it on like a new marketplace, because I feel like a lot of creatives these days, especially younger creatives, would use like social media, which is Web 2, to just put the free contents out there. And we are so used to seeing and receiving free content, and to be honest, even though we get like validation, like we have likes and you may have like a few followers, and sometimes if you're lucky you'll land some client jobs and that's it. But the content itself actually has no value, right? But when it comes to Web3, because everything is on blockchain, so you can always claim that you are the owner. You always have your digital rights and your ownership, and you can always monetize your work. You don't have to worry that people would copy and download and just claim that I created that. That would never happen on Web3. So I feel like this is the benefit of that, and from a marketing point of view, and your work is valuable because it has market value. Whereas on social media, it's just free content. Yeah.
And what about for you, Mei? As a curator, do you think that there is a change in the sales process or the marketing process when it comes to how NFTs have changed maybe the traditional mode of marketing art?
Yeah, it has been an interesting journey, stepping into the NFT world. Definitely when we saw, like for the exhibition for Women's World, traditionally, you would have the venue and you have a certain amount of time that people can come to the exhibition and they can see the art. Now, when it comes to the sales for an exhibition, sometimes it'll be during the exhibition, sometimes it's a few days after, sometimes it's a few months after. But where, for the NFT exhibition, it was very quick and simple. Anyone around the world who had a mobile phone, a laptop, a desktop, they could be on the plane. They could access our exhibition virtually, go in. If they like Claudia's artwork, they'll click onto it. There's a few little details about it. Then there'll be a link. Now the link will take them to your marketplace. So I think it's a foundation or OpenSea. OpenSea. So then you go onto OpenSea and you can click on it and they could directly buy. Now this is a little different, and I'm sure lots of people are thinking, okay, it was so simple, so quick, why do you still create NFT art? So the important thing is, and you've probably all seen it, if you've gone on Foundation, OpenSea, Super Rare, and you go to these artist pages, there could be thousands or hundreds of artworks. So we still think it's really important that we still create NFT art. And we use a company called On Cyber, and they create these amazing gallery spaces. They're all virtual, so they're using virtual architect designers, and they're creating these spaces. So instead of having a physical space and things taking a little bit longer, a little bit slower, NFT world, it's making things a lot faster, and it's great for the artists, but also great for us as well because things are happening a lot faster.
Yeah. And do you think that there is kind of like a special or unique appeal of female-led NFT projects when compared to like the other genders, or do you think that maybe according to your observation, you can't actually tell when you're looking up like artworks online of whether they're created by women or not?
I think the entire ecosystem is was designed by male, most probably for males, at least at the beginning. Like it was pretty technical. Don't worry, guys. Now it's super simple. All the steps are very clear now. If you want to create your wallet, connect it to the right platform, like everything is very easy and smooth now. But at the right beginning, we were just trying to get some tutorials.
I have someone who helped me in the beginning, so I actually never really got to do everything on my own.
Lucky, because I didn't have any guys involved in all my minting or anything. So I thought it was, designed by guys, and most people interested in NFTs at first were a lot more masculine, my feeling. But it's great. You have examples in front of you that of women who made it, so there's a lot of space for women to do NFTs as well. Then in terms of the artists being female or male, I want to say something, I'm not sure. The entire ecosystem can remain totally anonymous if you really want to. Either it's linked to your website, and you really have can track record the artist himself, herself. But if you want to stay anonymous, you can as well. So it could also be a way to, if you don't want to show, if you're a female or male artist, you can also hide it. So
does that resonate with your experience, Claudia? Say, for example, given how sometimes if you talk about taboo subjects, or if you delve into the discussion of gender through your artwork, sometimes it may get a little bit sensitive, and sometimes people may not feel comfortable about it. Do you find that maybe the blockchain system or the feature of being able to remain anonymous kind of like an advantage for you?
No.
They're bold.
I don't think gender is really like an issue here, because I don't want to always like victimize women or like think, oh, women, just because of women's work that means like we need more support. I mean, yeah, in some sense, but to be honest, if I weren't a woman, I probably wouldn't be here speaking to you guys, or wouldn't have like actually the opportunities I have, or I probably wouldn't even have my first metaverse project with Bamboo Scenes. So I feel like just because, when it comes to NFTs, I feel like it's about like building your own community, and it doesn't really necessarily need to be like a piece of good art, you know what I mean? Like NFTs is not just about art, it's about their own community, like, a community where people could resonate, but just because maybe we didn't have a lot of women representatives in the space, just because we never had enough women to begin with in most industries. So this is why, when it comes to NFT, a lot of people find it quite difficult to get in it just as a woman, just because they probably just find the whole place is quite intimidating, it's female dominated as well. But I feel like, I have had like so many NFT projects just focus, on women in general. So, I don't think that's an issue.
Mm-hmm. What about for you?
Interesting. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of female-led projects, and I mentioned before with Claudia. It's great because there's lots of women supporting women. There's lots of women buying NFT artists that are women. But it'll be interesting to see if we can get more men supporting female-led projects, men actually supporting female NFT artists. So, I don't know. So this is why I think it's really important that everyone knows that, yes, it's scary. And lots of female artists, it's a scary world to enter because, there's so much happening, it's so fast-paced, and there's already so much already there. So there's, you see all the success stories, you see people not so successful. And so it's a little bit daunting going into this space, definitely, to see what they're going to do. So, but the NFT community is wide, is worldwide, it's global. There's lots of different communities, there's lots of different channels. I think NFT education as well is really important, and I feel like there's more groups in the NFT world that are creating these spaces. So like Discord and Twitter. So I know there's like places that female artists can go to and they can get the support. So it is out there, but it's quite scary because there's a lot out there. So you have to do a lot of research and you've got to work out where you want to connect with. But also not just in the NFT world meta space. What about, you know, in your own city? There's going to be people, other artists that you can connect with in the real world. Ask them about their stories. How did this happen? What can I do better? And so sharing their stories and experience, I think, is important. So, yeah, so thank you, ladies, for sharing your stories.
And I always think that when it comes to, you know, like a piece of artwork, there is the artist who would create this piece of artwork, and then at the other end, you also have someone who views the artwork, who appreciates the artwork. If you look at your own set of projects or NFTs or, you know, digital artworks statistically, who are your main followers or supporters so far?
And a funny thing in my case, because as you can see, I'm focusing on the signature heart shape, like really surprisingly since the beginning of my practice, from physical art or digital art, I have more masculine followers, which is like very surprising to me since the beginning. So I would have more guys in my case.
What about for you, Claudia?
I would say like 60% women and 40% men. Yeah.
And what about for you, Mei, in terms of, say, for example, the artists that you and the Bamboo Scenes team have curated so far? What is kind of like facts and figures of the followers?
I think figure-wise, I can't give you exact answer.
No.
But for the two photographers, I think it's mostly female. Yeah, just slightly. Yeah, I don't know if it's because maybe it's their own community that they've reached out to, so maybe they're more supportive.
And in terms of the creator's end for yourself, as artist and as a curator, what do you think is the most fun process or element that you have in creating NFT artworks, which you may not necessarily have experienced or enjoy when creating the more so-called traditional forms of artworks?
The most stressful part in my case was definitely to mint the first NFT, because really I did that,
And
I don't
the
know
gas
why.
fee.
And the gas fees and all this, and going through the whole process, and you know the page is not loading and you're like, what is happening? And I was alone. I did that alone at night, super late at night. I don't know why you kind of decide to do this right now. And it was super stressful.
Were you able to find resources online?
Super easy to find resources already at that time, because I minted my first pieces in April 2021. Already at that time it was super easy to find YouTube videos. It's even more now. And today the platforms are a lot more, the whole process is a lot smoother. And if something is not well connected, you'll have a clear message saying, okay, your wallet is not connected, or they really tell you what is wrong. They want to make the whole process easier for artists, I guess, of course, because they want more content. So it's a lot easier now. But the most surprising in a very good way part was really to see my first artwork on a huge screen. That was really the wow effect. So some stressful and some fun parts.
I'm sure it's well worth it.
Yeah.
What about for you, Claudia?
The best moment or the worst moment?
Let's say the best first.
The best, I'm just going to be super honest here, is when I sell. That people like it enough to buy. I mean, obviously I don't know why they're buying, but you know, it feels good when your work is sold. Yeah.
And what about the worst part?
The worst part, you know, obviously the meeting bit, but it wasn't like too bad for me because, you know, when I had my very first NFT project, I had someone to help me to set up everything. So I basically sold my NFTs on Refinable, which is like a marketplace, an NFT marketplace, and I had my friend Lane Dane who runs Shitashi Women. Basically, she and Vivian are helping women in the crypto and NFT world. So I mean, it's good to be a woman sometimes.
How we launch an exhibition it was pretty simple, pretty easy. Madeline and I, we were in our sport clothes, and we were sitting in front of a computer, and all we did was, everything was ready, we typed everything up, pressed the button, woo! So what we did was we had champagne, we just sat there, we stared at each other going, oh my god, did we just do this? Compared to a traditional, exhibition where you have a whole venue, you've got to get the artwork up, you've got the tags, you've got the VIP coming, you have food, you have drinks, you have the music, you've got to think about the speech, and you have to do it like a tour probably and everything. So yeah, I mean, it was so simple. I feel like we could do it all the time.
Would you be considering to, provide virtual food and drinks on the NFT virtual platform?
Yeah, maybe that's the next stage.
There should be like a virtual community by now.
I'll
right?
let you know next year if we do that then.
Okay, back to the point you mentioned just now about like the benefits of being maybe a female artist or a female curator in the scene. Because all the time when we talk about like women in the scene, it seems that there is a stereotype. We need more support, we need more like visibility. Yes, we should, and it's definitely a very important topic. But I wonder if it might actually in real life be kind of like reversing the thinking. Do you think that there is actually any benefit or like more visibility or opportunities as a woman in the scene? And maybe if that's possible, if you would be happy to share some personal experiences too.
I think I mentioned it earlier, just because, like as a female artist, I feel like I, tend to do a lot of like female-focused events. Like I'm doing the TEDx talk in December, and then like I'm having a talk right here, and then my friend Lindsay from Shatashi Women actually helped me to like, get into the space, the NFT space. I feel like there is like so many like women's only events at the same time, but I feel like somehow, I mean, it's good that we have this kind of events going on, but at the same time, I feel like it feels like quite a saturation from everything. So, because last year I did the digital art fair, and I also had like a panel talk with the other female artists as well. So I feel like I'm always like, categorized as like female artists. And then the other male artists could do their own thing. They wouldn't like do like male artists only talk. They would do like how photographers could change the world, like how like they would have like some different topics. But whereas for me, like I always feel like I was talking about as a favorite artist, this is how I feel, like how you know what I mean. So I feel like maybe. Sorry, what's the question again?
Do you think that you feel like there is some sort of benefits as a female artist?
Yeah, there's definitely some benefits for sure, because feminism's been super commercialized these days, right? Because I work, on topics like feminism, like female sexuality and stuff. So obviously it's super female focused. So I will have a lot of projects that are catered for women, but at the same time, I feel like I sort of like put myself in a pigeonhole where I feel like I'm only doing like women's only things. Does that make sense? Yeah.
What about for you, Caroline?
Claudia is actually like both Mei and Claudia are opening my eyes in terms of it is potentially possible to be part of a community. My NFT journey was a very alone journey. I didn't really go to that many events like I used to like go to crypto drinks at the beginning of NFT. It was probably 2021. It was a lot of guys. It was a lot of talking about crypto and different crypto money more than really NFTs and art. So I didn't really feel part of this community, and then it happened that I went through all those processes alone, so I didn't really feel part of the community. But it could be a good time maybe to get closer to some communities, groups, either female only or mixed, but totally now that it's a little like less of a rush to to run into this world now that we understand, and then we've solved all the technical aspects of it. Going back on it and maybe ask questions and share more, listen to more stories. So thank you, girls, for sharing.
What about for you, Mei?
I mean, I think, like I said before, I really do think it's about connecting with people. Doing your research and just knowing what's out there and all the different opportunities. So I do think there is benefits for female artists. Or it doesn't have to be artists. I mean, it could be people who are going into crypto, entrepreneurs, musicians, they're going into the space. They just have to know that once they enter the space, don't expect to be an expert. You know, so there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of information out there. It's constant learning and constant change. So if you have the energy, go for it, you know, and just keep connecting with the different communities. I think there is a beneficial aspect out of that.
That's actually a very good note to segue into my next question is, do you think that there are any ways or methods to make the whole digital art or NFT scene more diverse or inclusive?
Big question.
May 1st.
I agree.
So maybe with the female artists, NFT artists, to find not just the communities that just support women. So, you know, find these communities and these channels where it's everyone. It's male, it's female, it's younger, it's older. You know, you're seeing all these young kids, you know, the 12-year-old, and they're selling all these artworks. And it's amazing, but, you know, how do you connect with them? What's their story? So there's constant information out there, a wealth of knowledge out there. It's just the way you connect, and I guess maybe you have to take the risk and go to all these crypto events where there's all these men there, but, you know, don't have that fear. Go in, you know what you do, you're an expert of what you do. So when you go into these spaces, you know, you just a little bit of confidence and you tell your story. And I think, I don't know, maybe that's the way. I don't know if anyone actually has the answer, because if there's an answer, then I think there will be a more diverse,
I agree. I agree. You know, having this kind of events is good, right? Like Satoshi Women, and also like women in NFT, and you know, the Metaverse project that we just had to encourage more women to, you know, enter the NFT space. I mean, actually, it's not as scary as we think, because it's literally just like setting up your own digital wallets and making sure that you can communicate your story to people, because sometimes it's really not just about art. It's really like, you know, building your own community and making, you know, it's like when people buy NFTs, A, it could be just for investment, and B, it's just because it's collectibles. People like that story, people find it funny, people just want to collect them and just buy it. Yeah.
What about you?
I think another way, and I was lucky to experience it as well during Meta Vision, the exhibition at K11 Museum. Apple came to me and offered me to sponsor some workshops for kids and adults, whatever gender. And so Apple would sponsor and provide all the iPads. And the idea of the workshop is I would teach people how to design and out of an iPad and mint their first NFT. So the idea of being more inclusive is just teaching, like sharing with more people, educate more people, teach them, show them how simple it is if some people are scared. I think that would be the way as well to make it more inclusive. Just show as much people as possible, and then they'll also remember that it was with you that they learned how to mint their first NFT and everything. So it's still it was a very, very nice experience. And I got another round of workshops with a mall called Color Mall in Chunwan for a pop-up last summer as well, and I really enjoyed sharing this experience, which actually exactly as Mei says, like now I'm kind of maybe not an expert, but I know what I'm talking about, at least on this specific subject, and yeah, so yeah.
That's wonderful to hear. I'm going to ask the final question before I open up the floor to potentially any questions. So let's go for something more lighthearted. What are your future plans? Do you plan to continue your journey in the Web3 scene, or will you, like return to the safer grounds of, like doing more traditional forms of art?
Do you want me to go first? So with Bamboo Scenes, we still strongly believe in the traditional art scenes. So we will continue to do physical exhibitions, but also we still feel like there's a potential in the metaverse. So of course we're going to still explore this world, and so we'll continue to do both.
I agree. I wouldn't call myself as an NFT artist because I just happen to do some NFTs and that's it. And also, I don't think that the concept actually just really excite me if honestly. So but at the same time, if there's an opportunity, why not, right? Because I feel like, well, let's say if, like back in I don't know, like 90 or something, like people would find like having a social media account is completely a bizarre idea. So I guess it would be quite the same when we look at or Web3 right now, because people are saying that maybe in the future, people could just, buy stuff on Amazon with their like digital wallets and using ETH as a currency, or it could be any cryptocurrency, just because it's actually quite a safe place for everyone. Because when it comes to like Web2 or something, they're collecting our data, right? We are actually like the product. So when we like the way we behave on the internet, and also like when we like type in our information, they actually could sell our data literally to everyone. But whilst Web3, we are pretty much in quite a safe environment because you can always claim your ownership, and then you don't have to like do any like exchange of that personal information. So in a way that I wouldn't mind continue actually exploring NFTs, because at the same time I could also earn royalties as well if my work is resold, which that would never happen in the traditional art scene. Once my work is sold, and that has nothing to do with me, as like the curator. But NFTs, like I actually earn like royalties just because people resold my work to someone else, and that's the beauty of it from the marketing point of view. But professionally, I really do enjoy doing like traditional work, doing actual exhibitions or taking actual clients' commission works. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Caroline? Can we expect any new projects from you?
Yeah, so since really the beginning of my practice, I like to discover and explore different mediums. So physical art will always be part of my practice. If it's canvases, walls, murals, any kind of physical art, and like NFTs. What I'm the most interested about is the theme for a potential new project. And recently I've been connected with a team of French scientists working on a helmet capturing the electrical signals of our brains when we have different emotions, and turning, of course, those electrical waves into lines and different shapes. Whereas if it's like you can get pictures of it, or you can have an animated, of course, like a movement, like a real life capture of your emotions. So currently working with this team to see what kind of information we get, what kind of data, are they lines, are they like what is the material, and how to make it into Is it a movie? Is it only the artist's emotion, or is it potentially the artist emotion and another layer of the visitor's emotion on top of it? So exploring this technology with this team. So that would be one of my upcoming, very exciting upcoming projects.
That's very exciting. Yeah, I'm sure that, like with NFTs and digital art, I'm sure that there will be a lot of new possibilities to the art scene. That's all the time we have today from their speakers. If there is anyone who would have any burning questions for any one of them today, do raise your hands.
OpenSea's been talking, there's been a lot of commotion about royalties for creators on OpenSea. And you did mention that that's a pretty big perk, that you can get continuous royalties. Would that, if there were to be no royalties for creators on a platform like OpenSea, would that make you want to move to a different platform to sell your art as NFTs? How big of a consideration is that for how you choose a platform?
Well, I actually only sold my work on 2 different platforms, Refinable and OpenSea, and as I remember, OpenSea actually take a little bit more handling fee or something. But the royalties actually you could set the percentage, or most people would set at 10%. This is what I do as well. I set at 10%. But if you want, you can set it a bit higher or lower if you want. So it is quite optional. It's really all up to you.
Oh, so what's happening right now is that they're actually saying they might not support it.
Oh, they're
so
not going to do
enforce
royalties
it.
and stuff?
Yeah, so they can't enforce it for future sales. So, okay, maybe this is not the topic for this talk.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know about that, but
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I think that would probably affect a lot of curators as well, because I feel like a lot of people love NFTs just because they always beat forth with the sales, unlike the other auction houses. So yeah.
Something to look into.
Yeah.
See new things learned every day.
No, it's fine. I mean, you've gone down really, so.
That's true. Very unstable at the moment.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Just one question. I mean, for all of you, I don't know who will have my feeling on. It feels that NFT have really exploded during, or maybe it's a coincidence, but during the pandemics, where basically people are stuck at home with their screen, maybe a computer or a smartphone, and so art is on your screen. So then NFT makes sense, because you can't see it in a museum. So, but now that Hong Kong is reopened, but the rest of the world is reopened as well, and people are outside going to galleries and museums, and it's a question you've touched upon a little bit, but do you think NFT, I mean, basically the future of NFTs is in the physical world? For example, I mean, I'm not promoting our exhibition, but having NFTs, but on screen, but in a physical place, or a lot of places are opening, physical places where they showcase NFTs. Mm-hmm. So, do you think that's the way forward for NFTs, or they still will be? The future is online, basically, for those NFTs, or only in the digital world? So that's just, all of you as artists or more, gallerist, curator. Mm-hmm. What's your analysis on this?
Okay, so it's interesting because the world of women, it was all online, it was virtual. And then actually recently we've been part of the digital art fair. So this is the first time where we had 2 of our artists on, LG digital screens. And it was just interesting to see, because I guess online, the virtual world, it's still a little bit technical. So I mean, even for the older audiences who are not very tech savvy with their phones or their laptops, so maybe it was a little bit difficult to, kind of turn from one side to the other side of the gallery. Whereas if you have the screens on a wall, it's there, it's visual, it's, same as digital art fair, as soon as you go in, you're just it's nice and dark, and it's just glowing at you. And it's actually a nice feeling. So I do think that for NFTs, I think it'll be a little bit of both still. I think it's going to be online digitally, but also it has to be in a physical space as well. Definitely for the art world, because I'm traditionally trained in, classical arts and everything. So museums and galleries, like I did a master's in that. So I still believe in the physical art scene. So when it comes to physical exhibitions, I still think it's going to still go ahead. Maybe it'll be a different way of how they will be presenting these NFT art. We don't know. Holograms everywhere. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see what they do in the next few years because it's such a fast pace that things are expanding so quickly. It's an interesting one.
I totally agree that it was the exact same timing of the pandemic. That's also the exact same timing that now brands are building their own metaverses. So far online we had potentially virtual galleries, but if we start having like metaverses, like different world where you actually have your own avatar and you like to spend time there, it will make sense to have to visit, to see art in those worlds as well, because those worlds will need content, basically visual content. But totally agree for the past year and for the probably 2 years, at least 2 years coming, or until the next pandemic. We also really enjoy and appreciate digital art in the physical world. Your exhibition is really nice. Our eyes are attracted by lights, by videos, by all this content, including Causeway Bay recently has so many new screens everywhere on top of the buildings. It's everywhere. It's even almost too bright for the eyes, next to the elevator as well on Queens Road. Screens everywhere, so all those screens will need content. So yeah, both they will have. I believe in NFTs and physical and digital. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I see them as like completely two different things because I don't think the metaverse or the virtual galleries or the virtual art space could actually take over the physical art space because like when I sell my NFTs or when I sell my physical artwork, I completely see them as two different marketplaces because they're just going to attract different types of people as well and totally different experiences and nothing is the same. But when it comes to NFT, it's just like it feels more like collecting something. But when you're in a physical place, you're completely immersed yourself, with the space, and you can feel, you can see the experience. So yeah, this is how I see this too. I don't think they could be taken care of by one or another.
Just a quick question for the artists. So obviously with technology kind of being at the forefront of how we consume art now, 100 years ago you'd be looking at a painting, 50 years ago you'd be looking at a piece of photography. Now with digital, we have the ability with social media platforms to have a lot of engagement, a lot of reach around the world. So my question though for you guys is, as artists, now that you have so much interaction that's happening immediately, how does that engagement impact, or maybe give you a sense of validation about your work? How does that impact the work that you create next? Now that you can know how many are male, how many are female, what their ages are, what topics they like, how does that impact the artwork that you make when you have access to that information?
Very good question. Do you want to go first?
That's a very interesting question, and so far I didn't. I absolutely agree with you, and Claudia mentioned about it before. You get a kind of a support and feel good moments, but it doesn't really influence what I'm going to do next. It's more of a research. It's more about what I want to tell to people. For now, I didn't let all those information influence too much what I'm going to do next, but I'm going to have a deeper look at all this information and try to see.
Yeah, I never look at them, that way. Just because I feel like, because as an artist, it feels kind of different. Because I'm sure you know it, right? When you create art, it's like, it's your expression. You wouldn't even actually look at the numbers or the figures to kind of affects you creatively. Yeah.
And maybe just one for Mei Ming, just because you're on the other side of that, you're on the commercial side. Would you look at artists who have a large social engagement or reach as something that could translate well to selling NFTs commercially?
I mean, it might be good.
But maybe not the end goal, maybe
No,
not the end goal.
I'm not gonna lie. But also, I like to support the emerging artists as well. I mean, I don't think that we should always just go to or be driven towards the people who are doing really well. Great, they're doing really well and they're engaging already. But like I said, it's more about education, it's providing a platform for the other ones. And like I said, there's so many people entering the space every day, every hour. And they're all looking for opportunities as well. It's quite difficult maybe for one or two people to try and like support everyone. But of course, like I want it to be fair. So I want to look at emerging artists. I want to look at artists who are just stepping in. They have no idea what they're doing, so you're there to support them. So I do think it's interesting. But of course, I mean, if there's an opportunity to collaborate or something with someone who's a little bit well known, it doesn't hurt as well.
Yeah.
But then maybe I can connect that person with another artist or someone else. So really, in the art world, it's all about connections as well.
I think I have something to add to this, because I do take commercial projects from clients, and it's nothing about NFT right now. We're talking about Web2, like, the platform where I'm more familiar with. Because I feel like sometimes my Instagram has become, not just my Instagram, but I would say Instagram has become like the artist's scorecard that kind of tells you how good you are, which is actually not necessarily the truth. But I feel like clients, maybe not from the gallery point of view, but I feel like for lots of clients who are not in a creative space, they would think that it's always nice to find someone who has more engagement and followers, because that person could actually post the work that they did for them, and then the clients would actually get more exposure, or like they would get more noise, because that person has more followers. It's a bit sad, but it's actually so true that it happens all the time. Like, if you are not as well known, then you probably can't charge that much. I mean, when you when you price the work, like how can you price the work? How can you market yourself? Like, can I charge for like 10K if I have like less than 10K followers, let's say, and if I have like 20K, doesn't mean that I could like double my price. I mean, it's a bit unfortunate at the same time, but but Instagram somehow has become like my main platform for me to get work and to promote myself. I feel like if one day I completely disappear from the space, and I'll probably get no jobs. Yeah.
Any addition?
I wouldn't let too much influence on, especially when you release your work. It's already a work that you thought about for potentially a few weeks or a few months before, so it's not that you're ready to go on another project that the crowd potentially has no idea about. So it's more of a personal. The creative process would be more of a personal journey. And
That's a lovely note to end our conversation with. Thank you so much for all our speakers. And also thank you to you all for attending this talk. Do check out the Digital November's events and exhibitions. So that's all we have. Have a great day.
It's really nice and casual.